Did you know that clutter doesn't just make your home look messy? It can quietly raise stress levels, increase your risk of falls, and even interfere with how well you sleep at night. For women over 60, these hidden effects are especially important because every pile of belongings isn't just physical, it's emotional. Imagine walking into your living room, but instead of peace, every chair is stacked with laundry that still needs folding. Your counters are buried under weeks of unopened mail, and even your favorite coffee table has disappeared under magazines you meant to read but never did. You don't even know where to start, so instead of tackling it, you feel drained before lifting a finger. But here's the truth. Clearing your home doesn't have to take weeks, endless energy, or backbreaking effort. In fact, there's a fast, step-by-step method that older women across the US are using right now to reclaim their homes in record time. And the best part? It's not about chasing perfection. It's about creating breathing room, safety, and peace you can actually feel the same day you start. So hit like and subscribe, because in this video, I'll show you how to transform even the most cluttered home faster than you ever imagined, without exhausting yourself in the process. Meet Isadora Izzy Whitcombe, 79, a retired librarian from a quiet town in Vermont. For decades, Izzy's life was built around stories, cataloging them, preserving them, and making sure nothing got lost. That habit followed her home, where she kept not only thousands of books but also letters, journals, and even 3 old typewriters from her earliest days at the library. Though she hadn't touched them in years, she swore each carried a memory she couldn't part with. Over time, her love of saving turned into a heavy burden. She admitted that she often felt swallowed by stuff, her home becoming less of a sanctuary and more of a maze of boxes, papers, and trinkets. The clutter wasn't just physical, it chipped away at her energy, her safety, and even her confidence. One day, after tripping over a stack of old magazines she kept just in case, Izzy realized she couldn't live this way anymore. That's when she discovered a lightning-fast cleaning system designed for older women like her. One that didn't require endless bending, lifting, or marathon cleaning days. For the first time in years, she said, she felt not only in control of her space but also free to enjoy her home again. Her story is proof that reclaiming order doesn't take forever, it just takes the right steps. Let's follow Izzy's journey and uncover the exact strategies that make decluttering even the most overwhelming home not just possible, but fast. Step 1. The 10-minute triage. The very first step in clearing a cluttered home isn't about polishing, scrubbing, or rearranging furniture. It's about making the first visible dent. That dent comes from something so simple you can start right now, the 10-minute triage. Here's how it works. Grab a trash bag, set a timer for 10 minutes, and give yourself just one mission. Throw away only what's clearly garbage. Not donations, not maybe someday items, not those sentimental things that make your heart pause. Just trash. Think expired food from the pantry or fridge, junk mail that's been stacked on the counter for weeks, broken cords that don't go to anything anymore, dried up pens, empty containers hiding in cabinets, or stained takeout boxes at the back of the freezer. Why this step first? Because trash is the lowest barrier. It doesn't require guilt, debate, or second guessing. And the payoff is immediate. Older women often stall at the thought of decluttering because they imagine sorting photo albums or deciding which heirlooms to pass down. That's exhausting before you even begin. But tossing a cracked dish or a year-old flyer from the dentist, that's quick progress you can see. For Izzy, this was the turning point. She confessed she had circled her clutter for months, whispering, "Where do I even begin?" But the day she set her kitchen timer and filled her first bag, something shifted. It was just old receipts, broken hangers, expired medicine bottles, and that jar of mustard from 2012 lurking in the fridge. But as she tied the bag and walked it outside, she laughed through tears. That bag felt like dropping 100 pounds of worry. And that's the hidden magic of the 10-minute triage. It's not just about clearing space, it's about proving to yourself that change is possible. One bag of trash becomes 2, and suddenly the mountain doesn't look impossible anymore. The hardest part isn't the clutter, it's starting. And with this step, you've already won the hardest battle. Step 2. Clear the pathways first. After the trash bag breakthrough, the next step is to target the areas that matter most for safety and sanity, the pathways. Before polishing shelves or tidying side tables, Focus on hallways, doorways, and stairs. Why? Because clutter on these routes isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Studies show that most household falls for women over 65 happen not in kitchens or bathrooms, but in cluttered walkways. Every pile of magazines on the floor, every shopping bag leaning against the wall, every pair of shoes left at the base of the stairs, these are tripwires waiting to happen. For Izzy, this step was life-changing. She admitted that her home had become a maze. She had to sidestep old boxes just to get into her bedroom and tiptoe around bags of books stacked by the hallway. One night, she nearly stumbled over a stack of newspapers on her way to the bathroom. That moment scared her into action. So during her Clear the Pathways day, she decided, nothing stays on the floor unless it belongs there. She slid boxes to the wall, tossed broken umbrellas, gathered loose shoes into a basket, and suddenly, she could walk straight through her house without fear. Here's the emotional truth. Being able to move freely from room to room isn't just about tidiness, it's about reclaiming confidence. When every step feels safe, it builds courage to keep going. Izzy said, "The moment I walked down my hallway without bumping into anything, I felt like I had my house back. It gave me the strength to keep decluttering instead of giving up." Practically speaking, this step also creates instant momentum. You don't need to decide whether to keep your wedding china or your late husband's records yet, that comes later. Instead, you're focusing on the simple, powerful act of making your home walkable. The quick wins add up, moving a pile of coats off a chair, folding up a rogue blanket blocking the living room, or relocating bags of donations that sat by the front door for months. And here's a bonus insight for 2025. Occupational therapists now recommend clutter-free pathways as one of the top home safety upgrades for older women. It's as vital as grab bars or non-slip mats. Clearing these walkways isn't just cleaning, it's fall prevention, stress reduction, and peace of mind rolled into one. By the end of this step, your home doesn't need to look perfect. It doesn't even need to look clean. But if you can walk freely, without stepping over, around, or through clutter, you've created a foundation of safety and calm. And just like Izzy discovered, that first safe walk through your home will give you the courage to tackle what comes next. Step 3. Basket Blitz. Once the pathways are clear, the next fastest way to create order is the basket blitz. Instead of wearing yourself out walking back and forth with individual items, grab one sturdy laundry basket, or even a lightweight tote, and sweep through each room collecting anything that's out of place. Shoes, coffee mugs, unopened mail, books, scarves, even yesterday's glasses, everything that doesn't belong gets tossed into the basket. This trick saves energy, eliminates frustrating back and forth trips, and creates instant visual calm. For Izzy, this step was a revelation. After decades of running a library, she was used to corralling wayward books back to their shelves. She laughed and said doing the basket blitz felt like rounding up lost sheep in the library. Except now, the strays weren't novels, they were knitting needles, magazines, and half-finished crossword puzzles that had wandered across her living room. With one sweep, her clutter disappeared into the basket, and her tables and chairs reappeared for the first time in weeks. Here's why this step matters so much for older women. It reduces decision fatigue. You don't need to decide in the moment whether that sweater goes in the wash, the closet, or the donation pile. You're simply gathering. The act of containing chaos into one basket buys you mental space and gives your body a break from constant bending and walking. Later, when you have more energy, you can sit comfortably and sort through the basket one item at a time. Experts in aging and home safety stress the importance of conserving energy in bursts rather than exhausting yourself early in the process. The basket blitz creates a visible quick win that motivates you to keep going. Instead of staring at 10 small piles scattered across the room, you're left with one manageable basket. Izzy admitted this step gave her the biggest emotional boost of all. She said, "When I carried that basket into the corner, it was like hitting the reset button on my home. Suddenly, the clutter wasn't everywhere, it was contained. And that made me feel like I could breathe again." And here's a fresh 2025 insight. Many senior living communities now teach the container method as part of their organization workshops because it works across every age group. Whether you're in a one-bedroom apartment or a family home, the basket blitz allows you to transform the way your space feels in minutes, without draining your joints or patience. By the end of this step, you'll notice a dramatic difference. Surfaces are clear, floors feel open, and your home starts looking less like a project and more like a sanctuary. It's not magic, it's momentum. And once you've got that basket full, you'll be ready for the next step, turning your attention to the surfaces that set the tone for the whole home. Step 4. One surface, one victory. When a home feels overwhelmingly cluttered, it's easy to believe you'll never see progress. That's why this step focuses on creating one visible win, a single surface that you reset completely. It might be the dining table buried under unopened mail, the coffee table stacked with magazines, or the dresser covered in trinkets. The goal isn't to do everything at once, it's to claim just one surface and make it shine. For Izzy, the dining table had been her biggest burden. Once a place for family dinners, it had turned into a catch-all for bills, grocery bags, and random odds and ends. She hadn't eaten a proper meal at that table in over a year. One Saturday morning, she committed to this step: clear it, clean it, and reclaim it. It took her less than 20 minutes, and when she finally saw the wood grain again, she whispered, "It feels like my home is alive again." That small victory gave her the confidence to keep going. Here's why this step works so powerfully. Our brains crave visible progress. When you walk into a room and see one clean surface, it changes how the entire space feels. Instead of chaos everywhere, you now have an anchor of calm, a reminder that the rest of the house can look like this too. Practical tip: don't overcomplicate this. Grab a basket, yes, from the basket blitz, for items that don't belong, toss obvious trash, and then give the surface a quick wipe with a microfiber cloth. If you want to take it further, add one joyful touch: a vase with fresh flowers, a candle, or even a framed photo you love. That turns the surface from just clean to alive. For older women, especially those with limited mobility or arthritis, this method avoids burnout. You're not tackling an entire room, you're tackling a piece of it. And yet, the impact is bigger than the effort. It's also safer. Clearing clutter from tables reduces trip hazards and makes spaces easier to navigate. In 2025, organizers across the US are emphasizing what they call the micro-victory method. The idea that small, focused wins build momentum faster than overwhelming marathons. Seniors especially benefit from this approach because it balances energy conservation with emotional payoff. Izzy said this was the turning point for her. "I didn't need my house to be perfect that day. I just needed one spot to remind me that peace was possible." And from that moment, she started looking at her home differently, not as a burden of years past, but as a space she could enjoy again, one surface at a time. So if you're feeling stuck, don't stare at the whole room. Choose one surface, reset it fully, and let that single victory fuel the next step. Step 5. Donate without delay. One of the biggest mistakes older women make when decluttering is setting aside a donation pile that never leaves the house. Bags of clothes sit by the door, boxes of books gather dust in the garage, and soon enough, the clutter sneaks right back in. That's why the golden rule here is simple: donate the same day. The faster the bag leaves your home, the faster your space, and your mind, feels lighter. For Izzy, this step became the heart of her transformation. She had filled an entire bag with old paperbacks she hadn't touched since the 1980s, including romance novels she swore she might reread someday. Her instinct was to let the bag sit for now, but she caught herself. Instead, she carried it straight to her car. That afternoon, she drove to the local library drop-off. She later described that moment not as loss but as liberation. Dropping off that bag wasn't losing, it was giving. Someone else gets to enjoy what I no longer need. This shift in mindset is crucial for seniors. Many hold on to belongings because of guilt: "It's wasteful to throw this out," or fear, "What if I need it later?" By reframing donation as an act of generosity rather than deprivation, clutter becomes an opportunity to bless others. In fact, in 2025, donation centers across the US are reporting record numbers of seniors contributing items, many inspired by the sharing economy and the joy of seeing their things live on in someone else's hands. Practical tip: keep a dedicated donation bag or box in one spot, like a closet near the door. Each time you fill it, set a non-negotiable rule: it must leave your house within 24 hours. Whether you drop it at Goodwill, a church thrift store, or a local women's shelter, don't give yourself time to second guess. Safety bonus: removing items quickly also reduces clutter hazards that can cause falls, a concern especially important for women over 60. No more tripping over bags waiting in hallways or stumbling around boxes that should have left long ago. And here's the emotional win: every donation becomes a small story of connection. Those sweaters you no longer wear might keep someone else warm this winter. That set of dishes collecting dust might become the centerpiece of a young family's first apartment. Your clutter doesn't have to end in the trash, it can begin a new chapter somewhere else. For Izzy, this rule gave her momentum. She said that each drop-off felt like she was peeling away years of burden. I thought I was losing pieces of myself. Instead, I was passing blessings forward. So don't let bags pile up by the door. Remove them the same day. That one action is the bridge between decluttering and true freedom. Step 6. Lighten the air. Here's a secret most people overlook. Sometimes the fastest way to make a cluttered home feel instantly cleaner has nothing to do with scrubbing or dusting. It's about how the air feels when you walk through the door. Clutter traps odors, stale air, and even emotional heaviness. But with one simple step, freshening the air, you can transform not only the atmosphere of your home but also your state of mind. For Izzy, this step was a revelation. She admitted that after years of saving papers, books, and trinkets, her home carried what she called a library basement smell, a mix of dust, old paper, and mustiness. She had grown so used to it that she didn't notice, until her granddaughter came over and wrinkled her nose. That moment stung. Instead of scrubbing her floors for hours, Izzy simply opened her windows wide on a cool Vermont afternoon. Within minutes, she said it felt like her house took a deep breath. The stagnant heaviness lifted, and for the first time in years, the air carried freshness instead of fatigue. This isn't just about fragrance, it's about health. Studies in 2025 show that stale indoor air contributes to allergies, headaches, and poor sleep in seniors. Ventilation reduces indoor toxins and lowers dust buildup. For older women, who may spend more time indoors, good air quality is just as important as clear floors. Open the windows daily, even for 10 minutes. Cross-ventilation, opening windows across from each other, creates a natural breeze that sweeps away mustiness. Add natural scents. Izzy kept a small dish of lemon slices in her kitchen and used lavender essential oil in her living room diffuser. She said it gave her home a fresh, not fake smell. Light a candle in the evening. Choose soy or beeswax for clean burning. The gentle glow and subtle scent instantly soften the atmosphere, replacing the stress of clutter with calm. Replace filters regularly. A forgotten HVAC or portable air filter can recirculate dust and odors, undoing all your hard work. The hook is simple. The air sets the tone. When your home smells and feels light, visitors notice, but more importantly, you notice. You feel calmer, more in control, and less burdened by the clutter that's left. Izzy said this step alone changed her perspective. I thought decluttering was only about stuff. But when my home smelled fresh, I felt like I was living again, not just surviving. Step 7. End with a reset ritual. The fastest way to keep a cluttered home from sliding back into chaos isn't about grand cleaning marathons. It's about how you end your day. Every organized older woman I've spoken with swears by one thing: a simple reset ritual before bed. It doesn't take an hour. It doesn't even take 20 minutes. But it creates a lasting sense of calm that carries into tomorrow. For Izzy, this became the most important part of her new routine. She admitted that for years, she went to bed staring at stacks of magazines on the coffee table, cushions sliding off her couch, and papers waiting for her in the kitchen. She said it felt like the house was whispering, "You failed again." That nightly heaviness crept into her dreams and left her waking up already defeated. But the reset ritual changed everything. Each evening, she gave herself just 5 to 10 minutes. Fluffing pillows and folding throws in the living room. It made me feel like my house was giving me a hug goodnight, Izzy said. Wiping down one or two key surfaces, the kitchen table or coffee table, so she'd see shine instead of clutter first thing in the morning. Emptying the basket from earlier in the day. No more piles sitting in limbo. Items were returned to their places, Or if they didn't belong, they were tossed or donated. What seems small is actually profound. Research shows that ending the day with even one quick accomplishment boosts mood and reduces anxiety, especially for seniors who spend more time at home. Instead of waking up to mess, you wake up to possibility. Izzy described it best. For the first time in years, I ended the day smiling at my own home. It wasn't perfect, but it felt like mine again. And here's the secret. This ritual isn't just about cleaning. It's about closure. It signals to your mind and body that the day is complete, that you're in control, and that your space is working for you, not against you. So before bed tonight, try it yourself. Fluff a pillow. Wipe a table. Empty your basket. You'll be amazed at how a tiny act can give you peace that lasts all night, and motivation that greets you in the morning. So let's recap what Izzy discovered in her journey to reclaim her home. She started with the 10-minute triage to get the trash out first. Then she focused on clearing the pathways so she could walk safely through her home. She mastered the basket blitz to scoop up scattered items without exhausting back-and-forth trips. From there, she celebrated small wins by resetting just one surface. She didn't let donations pile up, she moved them out with the donate without delay rule. Then, she learned how to lighten the air with fresh circulation instead of endless scrubbing. And finally, she ended every evening with a reset ritual that gave her closure and calm. Through these steps, Izzy realized something powerful. Cleaning was never about perfection. It was about creating freedom, safety, and joy faster than she ever thought possible. She didn't need to erase every sign of age or memory. She needed to release the weight of clutter so she could breathe, move, and live fully again. And that's the lesson for every older woman watching. You don't need to do it all. You just need a system that works with your energy, not against it. If Izzy's story gave you hope, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with a woman you love who feels buried under clutter. One share could be the spark that helps someone else reclaim their space. And don't miss our next video, 10 tiny habits older women use to keep clutter from creeping back. Those small daily tricks will keep your home light, fresh, and truly yours. Because a clutter-free home isn't just about how it looks, it's about how it makes you feel.